Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another reading vlog. You will possibly be seeing this in February. No, I think you will be seeing this in February, and obviously February contains my least favourite holiday of the year, which is Valentine's Day. So what better way to celebrate my least favourite holiday of the year than reading a bunch of romance books. Honestly, I'm just ready for something a little bit more mushy and gushy because I don't think I can take any more dark themes right now, because I listen to a crime podcast as well and it's all just getting a little bit too much. I need something happy and sappy. So I am gonna probably read maybe 2 or 3 romance books maybe. I don't know, it depends on how long I stay in this very romancy mood. I have already started my first romance book. I mean, it doesn't really count, I'm only on page like 1 or 2. I've heard nothing but good things about this book in particular. I do believe it's getting an adaptation on, I think maybe Netflix, but I could be wrong. And it's been on my Kindle for a while and I was in a romance mood, so I thought, you know what, I might as well pick it up and see what it's like. So that is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This actually won the Goodreads Choice Awards in 2019, and again, I've heard really good things about it. I've just never bothered to pick it up. So this essentially follows the son of the current president of the United States. As far as I know, he has a little bit of a run-in with the Prince of England. Obviously, this is fiction, not the actual Prince of England. If you want to read his book, he's got one out. But basically, they have a bit of a rivalry. They absolutely hate each other, and obviously, you guys know I love a good enemies to lovers, so I'm really hoping this is going to hit the spot. And essentially, the son of the president, she concocts a plan, and she basically wants them to reconcile and actually get along for good press. I'm guessing that things happen from there and they have romantic sparks. So that is the first book I'm going to read. I don't know what other romance books I'm going to read. I'm thinking the one that I want to read after this is possibly the Off Limits Rule, I think it's called. So we'll see what I read after this. I am super excited to start this book, so I'm going to get on with it and actually read something. So it is now officially Wednesday evening and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read much. I've been kind of procrastinating, I cannot lie. I feel like I've burnt myself out a little bit because obviously I've read 3 books now back to back and I've just kind of really pushed out the reading, and now that, you know, I'm on my 4th book, I'm like, oh, I think I'm sort of done a little bit. Anyway, I'm still reading Red, White and Royal Blue by, that is my dog. I'm still reading Red, White and that is a tongue twister. I'm still reading Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I'm currently 17% of the way through. I'm on page 63 on my Kindle. So I'm not doing too bad, but I could have done better. So far I'm really enjoying it. I will go out and say, and I don't know whether I'm the only one with this opinion because I feel like so many people have loved this book, but as much as it's making me giggle and as much as it's making me all like, ooh, like giddy, you know, I feel like it reads almost a little bit fanficky. I just said fanficky, that is disgusting, please kill me. It reads a little bit like fanfiction, and I don't know if it's just me, but that's how it's coming across. But I do like it. This is the thing, this is the problem. I'm trash. I'm gonna love it, but I'm trash. But it does read a bit like fanfiction. I don't really have much to say because I'm, as I said, only 17% of the way through. However, exciting news. The exciting news is that tomorrow I am officially getting my 2nd tattoo, possibly my last tattoo, because this is one that I have been wanting for such a long time. I knew the wording that I wanted, but I just didn't know where I wanted it, and I also didn't ever plan to get more than the wording. So it's a Throne of Glass related tattoo, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, Throne of Glass really, but that book has got me through a lot and still continues to get me through a lot, and it means a lot to me. And I'm getting the words "I will not be afraid" mixed in with a stag, and I'm so fucking excited. I've waited so long for this, but I'm gonna get it on the opposite side of where I've got my snake, just to fill in that gap, because now that I've got a gap there, I'm like, ew, remove the gap. That's the update that I have. That's the exciting thing that I've got tomorrow. I don't know whether I'm gonna be able to read my book while I'm getting my tattoo done. The last time I got my tattoo done, I didn't read at all and I couldn't read because of the position I was in. So that's it. That's my update. Not much to tell you guys. I'll see you later. Hey guys, update. I think it's nearly a week since my last update, which is kind of concerning because I don't actually feel like I've made much progress. I feel like by now I should have finished this book. However, I am 28% in and I'm on page 105 on my Kindle, and I just feel like I should have read more, but I feel like maybe I've burnt myself out because I've read quite a few books already this month. I mean, for me personally, because I'm a slow reader, I've read 3 books. This is my 4th, and I'm like, maybe it's just because I'm burnt out and I'm just reading. So here are my thoughts so far. I'm enjoying it. It's okay, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be a 4 or 5 star. I just can't see it yet. First of all, it's cute. I love it because it's cute. There's a bunch of references in it that I think are really cool. One of the things that I don't like is all the political stuff because I'm just not interested. I just feel like, I don't know, like it doesn't serve a purpose. I know that they're technically both within like the political world, but I'm just not interested in the politics, and I'm not interested in American politics. I don't live there, so I'm not interested. And I just find myself getting a little bit bored and I almost want to skim those parts. The romance is steady. I wouldn't quite say it's slow burn. I feel like it kind of just like went wham bam and here you go. But I'm really enjoying it, but I'm really mixed at the moment, so I don't know what kind of star rating it's gonna be. I do have to say it's really cheesy, but cheesy in a good way, almost. I don't know. One of the things that I will say that I've got a gripe with as well is Henry. I find him what the stereotype of British people are to Americans, and I'm gonna go out on a whim and say that the author is American. Again, it's a guess, but I'm pretty sure the author is American. And I just feel like he's a massive stereotype, and I know that the royals speak in that kind of very posh, upper class tone. I mean, compared to someone like me, who's common as fuck. But my issue is that he's too stereotypical. It's like he says, oh, you know, I don't dance, you know, we do ballroom training or whatever, and I'm like, but Prince Harry went to a club in Las Vegas, are we forgetting that? Like, he could just be a normal guy, but just a royal. I don't know, it just irks me a little bit and I find it kind of cringy, but other than that, it's okay. And I'm really hoping that I can pull an all-nighter, and I don't want to go out on a whim and say finish it because I don't feel like that's possible for me, but I do want to get a decent way into the book that I could finish it tomorrow, hopefully. Also, another exciting update. I don't know if I mentioned this when I did the introduction to this vlog. I got a Throne of Glass tattoo yesterday. So originally I only had a snake and a rose as a tattoo on my arm, and I got a stag with some wording on it. So I got "I will not be afraid" because that quote means a lot to me. Honestly, that book series and that quote got me through some shit and still continues to get me through shit. And when I went to Scotland last year, I was thinking about the tattoo and I was like, hang on a minute, I can mix these two things because a stag is in Throne of Glass. I've gone to Scotland and I've seen a stag up close and I think they're absolutely beautiful. They're probably my second favourite animal in the world, and I want that quote on my body somewhere. It's a tattoo that I've honestly wanted for absolutely years. I just didn't know where I wanted the quote. I didn't know how I wanted the quote, and originally I was just going to get the wording, but when I thought about this tattoo, because I had that massive space on my arm, I was like, I want something to fill the space, so I'll have it there. Now I will show you what it looks like, but I have got wrapping on it at the minute, like this medical grade wrap, so some of it looks really black and blocky, but it's just because like there's bits of ink kind of seeping out, which is completely normal. What happened with my last tattoo. There is my tattoo. I don't know if it's focused because it's really hard. It's like on a really awkward part of my arm. I definitely want something to fill that in because that just looks weird to me. Anyway, that's my update. That's what I think of the book so far, and hopefully my next update will be me saying I finished the book and I'm starting another one, because my plan is that this is going to be my Valentine's Day vlog, because they're obviously romance books. I'm going to read another romance book after this. So, yeah. Goodbye. So I'm now 41% into the book, which I think is like 150 odd pages in, and I know last night I said that I wasn't really sure how I was feeling about this book. I didn't know whether I was loving it or not. I woke up at stupid o'clock this morning. It was like 2 AM and I was like, you know what, I can't really sleep, so I'll just read instead. Let me tell you, I had a fucking dream about this book and these characters, and I have to say I'm really into it. I think it's just that initial first half that I was like, I'm not sure about this. I'm actually loving it. I also just quickly want to give an honourable mention before my camera dies to this one scene. So Alex and what is his name, Henry, are sending each other emails. Hey guys, this is my last update on Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, because I literally just finished. I in fact did not finish it over the weekend. I really thought I was going to. It's now Monday evening. I just really lagged with this book. I think just because I've burnt myself out reading so much, but the fight continues because I am going to start a book straight after this. I ended up rating this 4 stars in the end. I'd probably say I go between kind of a 3.5 to 4 star. This book overall is just such a feel-good book. If you're looking for something that does have romance in it, that is just gonna make you laugh and just make you really happy and in a good mood, I would say read this book. It just has so many feel-good moments and it just makes you feel really warm and fuzzy at the end. It wraps up really well and I really like the ending. The ending was cute. One thing that I will say is that I'm still annoyed with how stereotypical Henry comes across as like a member of the royal family. Like just the way he speaks, right? And then towards the end of the book he ends up saying "in it," and I'm like, so he's gone from posh royal family member to saying "in it." I've never heard any royal family member say "in it." So that really annoyed me. It's just a like really small gripe for me. I also really didn't like all of the political talk. There's not much of it, but because it's part of the backstory, it's kind of sprinkled throughout, and I don't really know much about American politics, I'm gonna admit. I don't get it. I barely understand my own country's politics, and to be honest I don't really care for it because it's all bollocks, but I just found myself getting a little bit bored, and overall in the middle of this book I found it dragged a little bit more. I would also say that the smut in this book was really tasteful and actually really sweet. I usually find that with romance books, especially like adult romance books and sometimes new adult, I find that the smut for me is a bit too much. Like it's really heavy, it's really dark, and I'm not here for it. I'm not vibing. I'll read it, but I almost want to skip those parts. It wasn't too much for me in this book, and I was kind of terrified because before I started reading, I did see a couple of reviews that said, there's so much smut. I was sick of the smut, and I was like, oh no, please don't tell me it's going to be a book full of all smut and no substance. I didn't find it too bad. I didn't find that there was overly too much of it. For me, I think there was just the right amount of kind of lovey-dovey smut scenes. I found it tasteful. I didn't find it uncomfortable to read. It was just, you know, chef's kiss. It was just right. I'd also like to say that this book is really funny. There are 2 parts in this book that just made me really laugh. So throughout the book, and I really like this touch, there were kind of emails sent between the 2 characters, and in one of the emails Alex, who is the president's son, sends Henry an email and he starts it off as "son of your former colony," and then when Henry sends an email back he essentially calls America knockoff England, which just had me laughing at 2 o'clock in the morning. I found it way too funny. And the other bit that made me laugh was a bit that I read, I think it was yesterday evening, and I was kind of halfway between laughing and just being really shocked. Now obviously Prince Harry's just come out with his book, right? And there's a line in that book, and I've heard way too much about this book against my will now on TikTok, and I swear to God this book must be satire. I say this to everyone, it's ridiculous. There's one line in that book where he literally says that, what is his brother's name? I forgot what his brother's name is. Anyway, he mentions his brother and he says his brother is the heir and Harry is the spare. And I kid you the fuck not, I took a picture of this on my Instagram story. If you don't follow me, go over there, I'm always uploading stories. And there is literally a line in this book, bearing in mind it was written in 2016, it came out in 2019, and Henry literally says Philip, who is his brother, is the heir and Henry is the spare. And I just sat there like, you could not have written a more ironic line. Now I'm wondering if Prince Harry has read this and he's, you know, directly got ideas for his book from this one. Oh, also because I write down notes now for basically every book that I've read during the month, just so that when I do my wrap up I've got stuff to talk about and I don't forget any points. My first point on this red, white and see, I can't even say it, it's such a tongue twister. My first point on this red, white and royal blue little bullet point thing is Prince Philip is a dick, period. And I still stand by that, and I don't like him. And I don't like his grandmother either. So, Prince Philip is a dick. Those are my thoughts on Red, White and Royal Blue. As for which book that I'm going to read next, because I am hoping that this is going to be kind of a lead up to Valentine's Day reading vlog, I'm going to read The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. So this is a really short book, which is why I have kind of gravitated towards it, because I'm kind of hoping that I can get it in before the end of the month, because we've only got this week and then 2 days after this week, I think, of January. I only loosely know what this one's about, but basically this girl moves in with her brother into his flat or apartment or whatever, and he's got a best friend, I think, who lives there, and he basically is like, you cannot date him. That's it. That's the book. I love a good forbidden romance, so I'm excited to see what this one is like. I haven't overly seen a lot of reviews anywhere. I'm sure people have read it, and I'm sure that there are a ton of reading vlogs and TikToks and stuff, because this is the kind of book that TikTok would gravitate towards. It has like kind of cutesy cartoon cover and whatever. I don't know how I found this one. I think I might have just been scouring Goodreads and I read it and I was like, okay, I'll read it. So I'm gonna read that next. I don't know whether that will be the last book in the reading vlog. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I kind of fancy giving up reading right now and watching The Last of Us, because I watched the first episode the other day. Let me just say, amazing. If you haven't played the game, you have to watch the show. Literally, that game is my favourite game of all time. It's in my top 3 and it's #1, and I don't think that will ever change. And watching that show is literally like playing the game again. Oh my god, it's incredible. I love it. I just, it's really good. Anyway, that's my update. That's what I'm going to read next. It's currently Monday, so hopefully I can get through this book soon. We'll see, but I'll update you when I've made some progress. Okay, so it's now, I was about to say Thursday evening, it's Wednesday evening. I am currently 43% of the way through on my Kindle on The Off Limits Rule. I don't remember what my last update was. I think I just told you guys that I was planning to read it and then I was going to watch The Last of Us. I'm basically doing this reading vlog as like a romance reading vlog, but my issue is I'm slowly finding that my romance mood is slowly dwindling now, and first of all, it's because this book is bad, which I'll get onto in a minute. But second of all, I just am in the mood for something else now. I'm not in the mood for romance. I'm not in the mood for happy dappy. I don't want it. I'm not in the mood. So let me just start off by saying, I feel like I have been absolutely gaslit by this book. I have never had a book gaslight me. So when I told you guys about the synopsis of this book, I mean, that is what it's about. It's a forbidden romance between a young woman and her brother's best friend, and she moves in with her brother and obviously meets his best friend, and things ensue from there. That's what I thought it was going to be, and it is that. However, let me just say, this woman is 29, which I wasn't expecting. You know, not an issue. I don't care that she's 29. The second issue is that she has a 4-year-old child. She is a whole ass single mum. Where in the synopsis on Goodreads was that mentioned? Where? Now, obviously some of you might be thinking, why is that such an issue? Well, I feel like if I had read that she was a single mum, I'm not gonna lie, I probably wouldn't have picked up this book. I am not a maternal person. I do not want kids. So I don't relate to characters who want children or who are maternal. And that's one of my biggest pet peeve tropes in like fantasy books at the end of the book, where the young woman has to be fulfilled by wanting children. Oh, it just bugs me so much, because I'm like, that character is so much more than just wanting kids at the end of it. So yeah, she is a whole ass single mum, which definitely would have played a part in me either reading or not reading this book. Again, as I said, I probably wouldn't have read it. Second of all, she's 29 with a 4-year-old child, and this woman acts like she is some lovesick 15-year-old. She does not act her age. I feel like this book so far reads more like a young adult, or do you know what? I wouldn't even say new adult. I feel like in a way they do act quite young, but it definitely, the characters read like they're in a young adult novel. I also don't feel like there's been much build up with these characters falling for each other. It was almost like love at first sight. They saw each other one time and then we're obsessed with each other. And I get being physically attracted to someone in, you know, one single moment, but I wouldn't say that that would make me obsessed with them. I'm not feeling this book at all. I don't get any chemistry between the two characters. I'm getting really annoyed with the brother named Drew because I don't understand this thing of people being like, you can't date my sibling. And I get that the whole idea of this book is supposed to be that Drew thinks his best friend is a bit of a floozy and he flirts a lot and, you know, he doesn't want anything to do with commitment. But there's a lot of miscommunication in this book between the characters. There's miscommunication between Lucy and Cooper, who are like the ones that are gonna be in love. There's also miscommunication between Cooper and his best friend Drew. There's just a lot of miscommunication going on, and I feel like at the age that they are, they should be able to communicate. I feel like that would solve half of their problems straight away. And coming back to the whole like Lucy acting like a teenager, literally this book starts off right, and this was before I knew how old she was. She's laying on the floor of her bedroom in her brother's apartment with chocolate smeared over her face, and she's just staring at the ceiling fan, just counting the blades as they go round. And then her brother comes in and is like, come on, you gotta come. I just poked myself in the eye, did you see that? Her brother comes in and basically says to her, look, we're going on my boat for the day, you need to get out, you smell, you haven't had a wash for ages. And she was acting like a teenager there, like a really melodramatic, the world is ending teenager. So when I found out that this woman had a whole ass fucking child, and she was 29, I was very fucking confused. I was just staring down at my book for a second on chapter 14. And I just read one line randomly and it says, cute, who's your baby daddy? I don't think I'll be reading another book by this author. Anyway, that's my update. I don't know how far I'll get this evening with this book, but I really am hoping to get it finished at least by tomorrow. Hi, I almost feel like I'm doing an interrogation right now. I've got a light right here. Anyway, I literally just finished The Off Limits Raw by Sarah Adams. And I have so many faults. Obviously, you guys would have seen my update before this. I had a lot of ranty things to say. I still have ranty things to say. I literally just marked it as read on Goodreads, and I did initially give it 2 stars, and then I decided to give it 1 star because when I reflected for all of the minute that it was rated 2 stars, I decided, you know what, no. We're not going to be that generous. I was generous when I read From Blood and Ash, and actually, do you know what? That book had a little substance. I'll give it that. It was a fun ride. I'm not going to be generous here. I'm actually going to stick with my initial fault and give it the 1 star it deserves. And now, first of all, let's just start off with the fact that this book absolutely gaslit me, because I just want to mention this again because I can't get over it. This woman, Lucy, is a whole ass mum. I couldn't deal with her at all during this book. It's like every 5 seconds she, for instance, she'll send Cooper a text message, Cooper will send her one back, and she's been told like you need to leave it, you know, a day or whatever, you need to ghost him, you need to leave him wanting more, which is so freaking stupid. At this age, just communicate with people. It's not that hard. So then, instead of ignoring him like everyone's telling her to do, she's like, actually, you know what, I'm gonna send him a massive message. And then this whole time she's like writing out this message, she's like, oh my god, why am I sending this? Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassing. Oh my god, why am I like this? I'm so funny. I feel like Cooper almost feeds into this attitude of hers, because quite often he won't make comments, but in his internal monologue, he'll be saying like, oh, this is why I like her, you know, she's so kooky, she's not like the other girls. Secondly, I just feel like the characters just lacked anything. I feel like they lacked substance. I feel like the whole story as a whole lacked any substance. And in all honesty, the only reason why these two got together is because they were physically attracted to each other. I get that that's how it sometimes works, or how it usually works, like you're physically attracted to someone and whatever. But you know, along the way, you get to know someone and then you fall in love with all of the other parts, but I never really felt like that happened here. And I feel like the only reason that they fell for each other, especially on Cooper's end, was because of the fact that he was so hell-bent on wanting to be this family man. He wanted to settle down, he wanted to be married. Then Cooper was just essentially, as soon as he saw Lucy, was like, that's it, I want to be a family man, this is the life I want. And I feel like that's the only reason they were together. And so I honestly felt like the whole book, there was just no chemistry there. Why is there always random noises at night that terrify me? And the last thing I want to mention about this book, and a huge reason why at the end I was like, you know what? This is going to be a 1 star, not 2 star. The pacing was so off for me. I felt as if it was too fast. At the beginning I was like, okay, this is cool, this is a fast read, this is an easy read. And then when I got at the end and I read the ending, I was like, no, I can't take it seriously. I already didn't feel anything with the romance anyway, but now I just feel like because we're getting to the end, everything is wrapping up so fast, and it's like, okay, we need to tie all of these knots together and make sure that the story is wrapped up because this book is ending. So something happens towards the end of the book. There is a little bit of a confrontation, and that confrontation was wrapped up really, really quickly. And then the way the book ended obviously set it up for the next book, which, let me just say, I am really not interested in reading now. It was like, okay, we've got all of these puzzle pieces and we need to get in the next idea for the next book so that people go and read it. The last chapter was, I think, I kid you not, a couple of months later or a couple of weeks later or something, and something major had happened in the relationship. A massive step had been taken. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it, so if you don't want to hear a spoiler, just skip forward just a second or two, or like a minute. Lucy and Cooper get married, right? Or he proposes, and then literally in the last chapter she mentions that 2 weeks after they got engaged, they got married. The spoilers ended now for anyone who's hanging around. I don't know what to say. I just didn't feel anything. And let me just tell you, I've gone on YouTube, I've gone on Booktok. I wanted to see what the general consensus was about this book. For the most part, I feel like everyone has loved this. Everyone has given it like 4 or 5 stars, and I'm left here like feeling really dumbfounded and just wondering how and why. Did we not read the same book? Have you read nothing else before? And I know I'm not in the wrong because I have gone on Goodreads and I've seen some of those reviews, and the majority of them are 1 or 2 stars. And let me just say, this is a good contender for worst books of 2023 already. So we're off to an amazing start. I'm starting that list off early. And hopefully the next book isn't going to be as bad, but we'll see, because it is yet another hyped up Booktok book, and we all know how Booktok books go. I am going to start reading The Spanish Love Deception. I feel in my heart of hearts that I do not want to read another romance. However, I do want to get this reading vlog wrapped up and edited. It basically follows this woman who has been lying to her family about dating a new guy, and she then gets invited to her sister's wedding but obviously doesn't have a boyfriend. So she enlists the help of one of her colleagues who is very kind of icy and doesn't like her, I guess, and they just don't get along at all. But she enlists his help, he becomes her fake date, and things ensue from there. So it's basically like a fake dating trope, which I never read before. This one is around about 400 odd pages, I think, so it's a bit longer than the last one that I read. But I have read 5 books so far in January, so I'm very happy about that. Anyway, I'm gonna read The Spanish Love Deception. I'll give you guys an update when I have one. Hopefully this goes better than the last one. We shall see. Hey everyone, I have an update. So I haven't read much of The Spanish Love Deception. I read a little bit last night. I think I might have got 4% of the way in. I didn't really stay up late. I was getting really tired and decided to give it a rest because I've been reading like nearly, I'd say for most part of like the evening. So I read 4% in, which is fine. So I am now on 6%. I am on page 27 apparently. So far, I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than the last book. I'm really interested to see how this romance develops, because at the minute it's very like enemies to lovers vibes. I am really aggravated right now with the scene that I'm reading, because currently Catalina is in a meeting in her job, and the men in that meeting are really frustrating, and I think the reason it's angering me so much is because I know it happens in the real world, and it's just making me so angry. They are typical domineering men who just won't listen, and she's basically essentially going to be doing this thing that her boss wants her to do, but he won't pay someone else to do it, but he wants her to do it for the same pay. So pay her, don't underpay her. Anyway, I digress. Hey guys, it's been a hot minute. I just haven't been in the mood for filming, and I was just in a really bad headspace. So I'm now, I think 27% of the way into the Spanish Love Deception. I don't remember the last time that I updated you guys, but I'm pretty sure it was when I first started the book, possibly. But what I would like to say is that I am thoroughly enjoying it. I just think that this romance book is so much better than the last one that I read. And I'm just really enjoying the banter between the two characters. The suspense is really there for me, which is what I love in a good romance novel, or just in any book in general. When there is a romance involved, I love the suspense, I love the tension, and that's there for me. And I was really nervous going into it because I know a lot of people don't like this book, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those, isn't it, where a lot of people really love it but I'm not gonna like it. And I actually really like it so far. I do think it's a little odd that Catalina isn't picking up on the social cues that the guy is giving her, because you could tell he likes her, but she's not getting it. There's something in there and it's not clicking. I also don't know if I mentioned this, but I got my tattoo, my Throne of Glass tattoo, and I freaking love it. The wrapping is off now. I feel like I did film it and tell you guys, but I actually can't remember where I am right now because it's been such a long time since I picked up this vlog camera that I don't know what I've told you guys and what I haven't. And completely off topic, and I know this isn't about the book, but I have to tell you guys this. I am seeing Sabrina Carpenter in concert in June, and I'm so freaking excited. I got tickets on Tuesday because there was a pre-sale. I got like an email for pre-sale, and it was a bit of a palaver because I didn't realise there was a pre-sale, even though it said it in the email. It wasn't very clear, right? 'Cause when you click the link, it took you to Live Nation, and Live Nation told you it was Thursday. But actually there was a pre-sale on the events app, which I'm not sure if that was meant to happen, but it happened. I got tickets like an hour after they were meant to be sold, and I not only got tickets, I got fucking VIP. VIP! I'm gonna be at the front! Oh my god, I'm so excited. Like, I have not been to a concert since 2019 when I saw Blackpink, and I just love concerts. I love live music. It fills you with this like really euphoric feeling, and I can't wait to feel that again. I obviously saw Lord of the Rings live last year, but it's not like a concert. It's not like a jump around vibe, you know. I mean, it was great. It made me emotional and it did what it needed to do, but it's not like a live musician. And I'm so excited. I just need to tell you guys that because I'm so freaking excited. Anyway, I'll update you guys when there is something to update you about. Hey guys, update, because I am now 61% of the way through. It's a couple of days later. I really wanted to make some progress on this over the weekend, and I kind of did, so I'm kind of happy with that, but I didn't really make as much progress as I wanted. I'm apparently on page 285. I have got to the part where they are in Spain for Catalina's sister's wedding, and things are happening, things are occurring. Aaron has officially met her ex-boyfriend, but he still doesn't really know what's going on. I think he might have an inkling because he has kind of said here and there, like, I kind of have an idea of what's happening here and what happened to you, but he hasn't sort of outright told her what he thinks. I'm gonna be honest, I think this might be a 5-star for me already. I think the bar was very low after the last book that I read, that now I'm like, this is amazing, this is top tier. No, but genuinely, I really love this book. It has everything in it that I love about romance books, and actually romance for me is fast becoming a genre that I'm really enjoying. You know, starting out with the genre and trying to find the authors that you really like, and this is one of those books that I'm just like, yeah, this is a new favourite author of mine. I think this, and also From Luke Off With Love, both amazing books that I really loved, and this one is definitely going to be one that I love. There's just so many funny moments in this book. It has the banter between the two, which I really enjoy. There are moments where Aaron will literally outright tell her that, you know, I want to be more than friends, but he'll do it in a way where he'll be like, oh, friendship isn't on my mind. It's never been on my mind, because obviously he wants more, but then she's taking it as, oh, he hates me and I absolutely hate him. And Catalina is already started to feel things for him, but she's kind of like, oh, you know, this is meant to be fake, but I'm starting to feel things. And I just, there was one scene that really made me laugh, and it was the scene where they've just gotten to Spain. They're in, I think it's her dad's apartment that he rents out to like holidaymakers. Basically, Catalina is like, okay, well, we're not gonna share a bed because we're not actually dating. So they go to this other room and she's like, oh, you can have this one. And then they realise that the bed is really small, and she's like, actually no, do you know what, have the other room. And Aaron is really arrogant and annoying and is just like stubborn about it, and he's like, no, I'll take this bed. Spoiler alert, I mean, you could skip ahead a little bit if you don't want to hear what happens. He gets on the bed and he breaks because he's too big for the fucking bed, and they're pissing about, and yeah, he breaks the bed. And then Catalina's, I think it's her cousin, walks in and just, oh, and there's gonna be the one bed trope as well, because Catalina's cousin is staying in this apartment as well, even though she lives in Spain, because this whole thing has happened and she's staying there as well. So now they're gonna have to share a room and obviously share a bed. Ugh! There's just so many moments that just make me want to gush, and I hate Valentine's Day. And do you know what? When I read books like this, I'm like, why am I single? And then I realise when I read books like this, I'm like, because no one meets my standards. I just really love this book. I didn't think I would, because I was fully expecting to go in and very much dislike it, because it is a massive Booktok book, and I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, I've heard a lot of bad things, and I really like it. So I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna update you guys next time I update you, and hopefully by then I will have finished the book. Hopefully. Maybe. Hey everyone, so this is officially my last update, because I managed to finish The Spanish Love Deception by Eleanor Armas. I read a little bit on my break earlier, and then I kind of had the intention to finish it today when I got home, because I knew I didn't have many pages left, and honestly I could not stop. This book did take me a while to finish, just because at the beginning of the month I wasn't really in the mood for reading, and I just wasn't in the right headspace, and so it did take me a lot longer than it should have. However, once I really got into it, once I was in the right headspace, I could not get enough. I would also like to say that this is officially my first 5-star read of the year. Yes, ladies, gents, the girls and the gays, and everything in between, this is my first 5-star read for the year, and I cannot believe it. If you had told me that my first 5-star read of the year was going to be a romance book, I would not have believed you. Romance is a very new genre to me. It's not something that I've ever really sought out, just because I didn't think that it was a genre that I would enjoy, but since I've pushed the boat out and been trying to read things outside of my comfort zone, I think romance is slowly fast becoming one of my favourite genres. So now on to my kind of overall thoughts on this book. First of all, I loved the chemistry between Aaron and Catalina, who are our main characters in this book. The chemistry was unparalleled. Their chemistry is what I look for in any book. No matter what genre it is, if there's a speckle of romance, that's the kind of romance I look for. It had just the right amount of tension. The build-up was really well done. I loved the enemies to lover element. I think that was done really well. I feel like this book for me was very reminiscent of how I felt about From Lukov with Love. I feel like these two books now, they are the blueprint of what I love in a romance book. I need more romance books like this. I really enjoyed, after finishing the book and looking back on my experience, I really enjoyed the fact that at the beginning, when we're kind of, you know, starting to read about Catalina and her life and, you know, what's been happening with her, I love that we really hate Aaron. Like, I hated Aaron. I thought he was an asshole. And I realised as the book went on, I was like, ooh, he's giving signs he likes you, girl, and you're oblivious. And I love the fact that you really go from hating this guy to really liking him before the main character does. I just really like how that was done. And I also really like that how, you know, we can see that he is giving her signs, but she's reading them in a completely different way. And I feel like some people would find that very annoying. I personally really loved it. I feel like it was frustrating, but in the best way possible. And believe me, I love a frustrating romance. Like when the characters are just so close to being together and then they're like, oh, so far away. I love that because that keeps me reading. I just want to give an honourable mention to Gerald because I don't think I have hated a character more. Gerald is in a league of his own. He is everything I hate about the male species. And before you get offended, no, not all men, but there are men like him out there. And oh my god, I can't. He was insufferable. I know he wasn't written to be liked, but I wanted to go in there and choke him with my bare hands. I also must say that Aaron Blackford is now on my official book boyfriend list. This list grows longer by the years. It's okay. I now have ridiculous standards, which is probably why I'm always single, but it's fine because I have book boyfriends and no one is going to be able to compete with that. So hello to any men out there. If you think you can compete with that, I would like to see you try. One negative thing that I will say, and I don't know, I feel like this is a personal thing, but spoiler alert, when the romance ensues, because obviously this is a romance book, obviously they're going to fall in love. So Aaron has this thing of calling Catalina baby a lot, and I don't know if it's a problem with me, but every time I read that, it just kind of made me cringe. And he says it a lot. He's like, oh baby, like, God, it's making my ears want to go back into my skull. I don't know why. Like maybe in real life it's not as cringy. I don't know. No one's ever called me baby, but I just find it kind of cringy. Like I love it, you know, when Hunter Fella, when he says sweetheart, like, oh, that does things to my little dark soul. But baby, I don't know if I can get on board with that. The last thing that I want to say is that the pacing for this book was really well done. I find that pacing can make or break a book. If you've stayed here throughout the duration of this video, obviously the last book that I read was terrible. It was 1 star. The pacing was awful. However, the pacing of this book was really good. I just feel like there was enough in each chapter to intrigue me enough to keep going. Obviously there was a little bit of mystery there in terms of what happened to Catalina, and also Aaron wasn't very forthcoming with his life and, you know, where he came from and all of that stuff. But every chapter just had me giggling or blushing, and it was just so well done. And I honestly am really shocked that I truly enjoyed this one, because honestly I went into this thinking that I would hate it. I'm not gonna lie, because popular Booktok books never go well for me and I rarely ever like them. Another critique that I would say is that I kind of wish I'd seen more of an explosive meeting with Daniel, who is Catalina's ex. I just really wanted to see him fall flat on his face, and I wanted to see like a proper explosive confrontation. There was a slight confrontation there. I just wish that it could have been a bit more explosive. But anyway, that was my reading vlog. My camera's about to die. If you like this video, please remember to give it a like. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.